Hi, and welcome to the Black Starters Podcast, featuring stories of Black business owners, leaders, and artists walking through their journey from the start through obstacles and onward to success. Powered by BlackStarters.com. And now, here's your host, Lauren Marie.
Hey, Starters. This is Lauren. I am here today with Vivian Kay of the super successful Kinky Curly Yaki hair business. And I'm just like ready for y'all to hear everything that she is going to share. This woman is really amazing. And so let's just go ahead and jump right in. I won't bore you with my storytelling. Even though I have so many stories to tell, I'll save them for another episode. So Vivian, if you are ready, I'll just jump right in. So tell me just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what your days typically look like.
Okay. So my name is Vivian Kay. I am the founder and CEO of Kinky Curly Yaki. I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa, but I live here in beautiful Toronto, Canada. I have a 3.5-year-old. So he gets my morning started. So I drop him off at school, and then I come into my office, and I have about a 2,000 square foot office / warehouse space where we do all of our shipping and all of our quality assurance. We do everything in house. So that's basically what my day to day looks like, and and answering emails and planning for longer term, that sort of thing. That's what I pretty much do on a day to day basis.
So tell me, what was your very first job, and then how did you eventually get into bundles?
Well, my very, very first job, I was a marketing coordinator, but really my first business was as a wedding decorator. So I had a sister of mine get married, and she went through this whole process where, the decorator said she would charge her $1,000, and at the end of the day, it ended up costing like $5,000 or something like that. And I thought, there's got to be a better way to do this. Like, why does it have to cost so much for weddings? So then that's how I started that business. And in that business, because I'm from Toronto, so it's a very multicultural, diverse city. So we were doing everyone's weddings, from South Asian to European to Caribbean, like everyone's wedding. So, at the time I decided to go natural for the 14th time or something like that. And I felt that I needed something that was presentable to everyone, but still felt true to myself. Especially when you're, dealing with people's weddings, you don't want to come out with a failed twist out or whatever, right? So I wanted to be able to either wear wigs, like wear a protective style that looks like me, and not have people ask me about the whole, ask me where I bought my hair, deal with the whole African in the front and Indian in the back. So I started out I did my own research for my own self. I was trying to solve my own problem. And then I found what was happening is I would go to, Black girl meetup groups, and people would ask me what my regimen was and, what hairdresser I used and, that sort of thing. And I'd be like, girl, this is a wig. Right. And so then from there, I realized that, people would say, oh, you should sell that. And I was like, oh. So, in the off season from the wedding business, I said, well, I did all the research. I saw that nobody was just only selling kinky hair. Everyone was selling all these other textures that were buried underneath the Malaysian, the Brazilian, the Malaysian, whatever exotic texture du jour was going on. Right. So they would bury all the Afro textures underneath those. So I saw no one was selling just the kinky texture. So I was like, you know what? It's a down season from my weddings. I started it, December 8th, 2012. And I thought, let's just see what would happen. What have I got to lose? Let's just see what happens. And, 5 years later, here we are, $1 million company, so yeah.
Wow. So in the conversations that I've had, one of my favorite parts about the story is usually when people figure out, like, this isn't just something that could be of value to me. Like, other people see this and they like it, and it's something that they're willing to pay for, like this aha moment of, man, like, I'm doing something right.
Absolutely. Like, whenever people ask me for advice, well, what should I do my business on? What should I? And I'm like, well, if you start out thinking, you can do that. But in my experience, I was just trying to solve my own problem.
Right.
And I find that if you have a problem that you figured out how to fix, there's a strong likelihood there's probably thousands of other people who have that same problem, because you can't be the only person having that problem.
Right.
Right. And even if so then it helps niche it for you. Right. So if that's a problem that you can solve, there's thousands of other people who need that problem solved. So that's the best business to start. Don't start a business because everybody else is doing it and everyone else seems to be making money at it. That's eventually going to fall apart. If you're actually passionate about what you do and you truly understand what you're selling or what service you're providing, then that's what's going to help make you successful.
Good deal. So you mentioned this word, like niching it down, or some people will say niche. But in either case, can you talk a little bit about that? Because
again, I thought with my first successful business, I saw that there were other people just like me who just wanted it simplified. So I figured, well, there's got to be people just like me that just want kinky hair. Right? Not everybody wants everyone at work to know that they're wearing a wig or a weave or whatever the case may be. So niching it down would be, okay, so you want to sell weave. Everybody and their mother on Instagram sells weave.
Right.
So if you decide to niche it down to something, like even if it's like, I don't know, selling paint. Okay, so you want to sell paint. That's great. But if you sell a specific kind of paint, like let's just say if you just only sell paints in shades of pink, that makes sense, because there's people who are just looking for paint in shades of pink. And so then if you're able to focus and do the proper research and the proper marketing just based on pink paint, there's going to be a market for it. And if you go at it just sort of throwing all your money at everything or just throwing all your energy at anything, you're not really going to succeed, because if you niche it down, it's going to one, you're going to become an expert on pink paint. And two, people will value that. Because you know what? She or he only sells pink paint. So they got to know a lot about pink paint. And then you become that expert on pink paint. So anytime anyone thinks of anything related to paint and pink, they're going to come to you first, because you are that knowledge. You are that source of knowledge for that.
Absolutely. So tell me, let's get into some trials. So when you were starting up this business, what were some obstacles that you ran into?
Well, people didn't understand why I was selling just kinky hair. They were, at the time, everyone was into buying this Russian Federation hair or the Malaysian or Brazilian. Like everyone wanted silky hair, and everyone was like, well, why would I buy hair I can grow out of my head? Well, not everybody can grow that much hair. Two, not everybody has time to be dealing with all that hair. And three, why not? Right? Like, who thought that there would be a market for 32 inches of platinum blonde hair? Oh, well, Nicki Minaj made it a thing, so now everybody wants it, right? So, that was a problem, because everyone was like, well, why would I buy something that I can grow? Or why? Like, it was just it was negative. I got a lot of negative feedback, but I didn't care. Because I thought, well, if I like it and that person who bought it likes it and that person who bought it likes it and that, I couldn't be doing anything wrong. You're just not for me. You are not my customer. That's it. Yep. So I'll just find the people who are. That's it. That's all I did.
And now, here's a quick word from our supporters.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Goodwin. I'm 11 years old and the president and CEO of Gabby Bows. My mommy and I have solved the age-old problem of disappearing girls' hair breadths by inventing the double-face, double-snap barrette. Buy my product that will never slip out of the hair at GabbyBows.com.
Now, let's get back to the show.
So how did you go about finding those early customers?
Well, the funny thing is that before that, I was already a hair connoisseur. So, and doing my own research, of course, for myself, I became a hair connoisseur. So I joined forums, I joined Facebook groups, and I sort of became, obviously I've got a personality. So, people remembered me, right? So they'd be like, oh, she's selling hair, girl. I'm here. Some of my first customers are still customers to this day. But my very first customer placed an order with me on December 8th, 2012. And she came, I was in New Orleans for Essence Fest and taking part there. And she came and bought hair again from me, 5 years later. So it's just been an amazing ride. Like I cannot complain.
Yeah, it sounds like it's been really great. And even just the way that you're smiling, talking about it is wonderful.
Because you know what? It's like I built it from nothing. Building something from nothing just has its very own set of it has its own pride. It's like a child, really. You grew it from nothing. Like I used to pack and I used to pack the shipping. I used to sign my name on all the packing slips and do all that. But then I grew my company to the point where I had to hire other people. Like I just came back from a 10-day vacation and I was not worried because my business was still running while I was gone. So like I take great pride in my company, great pride.
So what would you say is one of the most important business lessons you learned over the last, 5 years?
Let's see, I would say is to trust your gut. Really trust your gut, because you know what's good for you and you know what's good for your business. Sometimes when, I find when I'm second guessing myself, it's because I'm letting my head talk me out of things or whatever. And then obviously, later down the line when it's like, man, I should have trusted what I felt was right. Right. So that was one of the biggest lessons. And also starting a business isn't cheap either. So, doing your own research and spending your own money, to me is one of the best lessons, because you really get to know your product inside out. I mean, especially in, the type of product that I deal with. But yeah, those are some interesting lessons. And to also just don't be afraid to be the janitor. Like people think, oh, they immediately have to be CEO. No, honey, you need to, clean the, I don't know, just do some cleaning and go all the way up to making these big executive decisions. But you can't be afraid to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. So if you could go back and speak to your 2012 self when you were just getting started, if there was one message that you could relay, what would you tell yourself?
I would probably be a bit more, I'd set up a set of systems. So if there's one thing that people in businesses, when they're starting businesses, especially when it's starting out of a passion and they don't necessarily have that business experience, is to get a system in place and to write it down. So that way, when you do start letting go and delegating and outsourcing, you're not always doing a brain dump. And then, brain dumps can be pretty hard. So if I could talk to my younger self, I would say, write everything down. Put the systems in place, explain why you're doing it the way you're doing it so that you don't have to keep doing it over and over and over again when you're delegating. But yeah, that's what I would tell my younger self.
That is really awesome. So again, like a lot of this is just showing that, like if you have something, well, like you said, first of all, if there's a problem that you're having, it's likely that other people are also having that same issue. So if you can solve it, you possibly have a market that you can sell to.
Absolutely.
But in a more general sense, if you have an idea or something that you're passionate about, or if you are just willing to put in the work, you can provide value to somebody else and create a job for yourself.
Absolutely.
For those who may have an idea or are interested in starting their own business, but may have some fear of, what if it doesn't work out, or any number of fears, what words of encouragement would you have for them?
Well, honey, I have no business experience. I don't have a degree. I'm a college dropout. I'm an immigrant. I'm a single mom. I have everything. I have everything that could possibly hold me back, not hold me back. So what I think is a lot of people are just afraid to start. You don't have to start big. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars starting your little business. You don't. So you can't be afraid to start something because you think you're going to fail. in fact, failure would make you stronger and would make you more successful, because that means you're learning lessons. If you fail, then you're going to learn from that failure and do better the next time around. So don't be afraid of failure. The journey is not going to be perfect. It never will be, just like life in general. And it's going to be don't let the people on Instagram fool you. It's going to be one of the hardest and loneliest things you'll ever do. Yeah, they'll pose up with the stacks of money and the cars and the this, but that's not what it's all about. And if that's the reason why you're getting into business, then you're in business for the wrong reasons. But yeah, my advice would be, don't be afraid to do it. You only live once, and there's no need to go big or go home coming out the gate. Start small. How I got here was big little steps. So a bunch of the little steps that I completed, eventually, like when you look back, it's the reason why I'm here today. It's because of all the little things that I did. I was nice to my customers. I was thoughtful, and I let people know that I'm just like you. Like, I'm not some movie star or basketball wife with a weave. No, I'm just a girl that just wanted some hair that looked like mine. So if I can do it, you can do it. That's it. Try. At least try. Give it a try.
At least try. That's a good word. And we will actually end right there. Thank you so much, Miss Vivian. I have greatly enjoyed you. And I really appreciate all the things that you shared. So starters, go ahead. Let me know in the feedback or in the comments, depending on where you're hearing this. Let me know what you most enjoyed about what she shared. Maybe one thing that stuck out to you. So that's it for this episode. Go ahead and give me a 5-star rating and a review. And I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Black Starters Podcast. For more exclusive content, don't forget to log on to blackstarters.com. There you can find all our social media sites. And if you like this episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star review, comment, and share.